Okay, I think we're actually cooking now. So, sorry for the technical difficulties, but we're here now. We're back into the streaming studio here, and we're going to take a look at the weather situation that's evolving here. We were going to try to do it from the weather lab. We're working out the kinks on that setup, though, a little bit, and we will get to that hopefully within the coming days in terms of making that work a little bit better. But for now, meteorologist AJ Rickman is going to join me in just a little bit. I'm meteorologist Corey Thompson. And let's take a look at some of those different sorts of things that we have to look for in terms of different weather conditions that we have going on. Right now, it is a bit of a messy situation out around eastern Iowa. Conditions have gotten worse, but at this point, they are likely to improve as we go later into the evening, into the night. And then we've got another first alert day as we go toward Friday and Saturday as well. And we're going to break down all of that here coming up in just a little bit. So first alert day is in place for portions of the area. That would be for especially areas north of Highway 30, where we've seen particularly poor conditions develop across the course of the day. That's where a variety of different winter weather alerts are in place. And we certainly encourage you in those areas to take the extra steps that you need to stay safe. Might.
I'm not hearing anything. Didn't hear anything, at least on the YouTube stream.
All right, thanks for bearing with us again, folks. First alert day continues until midnight tonight. The alerts from the National Weather Service have been evolving. Some new updates from them. Looks like they trimmed back the blizzard warning in some spots, winter weather advisory in more. Meteorologist AJ Rickman is here too. AJ, that's all because things continue to evolve around eastern Iowa.
Absolutely. We've seen quite a bit of change in our weather as we've gone through the afternoon. Of course, had some snow showers moving through that were a little bit spotty in nature, but man, when they moved through, it was heavy, it reduced visibility, and then when you factor the winds in as well, really led to a lot of those reductions, again, in visibility and slick spots on roadways too. Now, right now, most of that snow has moved out of the area. Did have a snow squall warning earlier for some of our far eastern counties, but that snow is also pushing out now. A few flurries are possible as we go through the next couple of hours, but for most places returning to dry conditions, at least in terms of snowfall. Winds are going to continue to be a problem as we go through the rest of the night though. Right now you can see generally along and north of Highway 30 is where we have those partially to completely covered roads, and in those spots again where you are going to want to make sure that you're being careful as you go throughout the night tonight. That snow, again, even though it has quit falling, it is still sitting there on the ground. Winds are gusty. That's why there is a high wind warning until midnight tonight, and in many places, or in spots that have not seen that blizzard warning reduced to a winter weather advisory, again, going to be watching for travel concerns, primarily reduced visibility from blowing snow, potentially blowing that snow over the roadways, leading to more of those slick spots. Now, with the blizzard warning that was issued today, there of course wasn't exactly heavy snowfall across eastern Iowa. So for a blizzard and what an explainer would be, we are looking again at what exactly makes a blizzard, well, a blizzard. It, believe it or not, does not depend on snowfall totals. It more has to do with wind speed and visibility. So in other words, for you to have a blizzard or for an event to qualify for being issued a blizzard warning by the National Weather Service, you are going to need wind gusts with sustained winds at or above 35 miles an hour or frequent gusts of 35 miles per hour or greater. It's going to have to lead to visibility of a quarter mile or less for a duration of more than 3 hours. So again, that's why that blizzard warning was issued for portions of eastern Iowa today, not necessarily because of heavy snowfall, but more because of the impacts from the snow that we have seen. Corey, you had a little bit more on those winds and how they're going to be evolving over the next couple of hours.
Oh, sorry, I stepped out for a second to check on a couple things. Did you discuss or did you share, what did you see out there? You were on the mobile weather lab for the afternoon. Things changed across the course of a couple hours while you were out there.
They did, and it was, again, the interesting thing with it is that a lot of times when we were out there on the roads in and around Cedar Rapids and the Marion area, the roads a lot of the time were wet. Not necessarily slick and icy, but wet. What changed was when we drove through some of those snow showers that were moving through. When that snow came down, it was heavy. A lot of the flakes were really big, and it stuck to the roads quickly. Road temperatures were above freezing, but not by much, so that allowed that snow to really stick to the roadways. It did not take long for road conditions for us to deteriorate. In fact, it was a matter of maybe 5 minutes going from wet roads to snow-covered roads and not knowing which lane you're in. So very, very quickly evolving as we went through the afternoon. Again, through the night tonight, especially in our northern counties, northern half of the viewing area, going to have to continue to watch for those slick spots.
Yeah, hopefully we can see stuff just continue to get better as road crews are out there. And hopefully really just getting after it. Like you said, the warm temperatures that, at least in some spots we saw this afternoon, really did help. Those winds, yeah, look at those. Still going at this hour. Maquoketa at 50 miles per hour, 45 in Iowa City. They had a gust earlier of 60 miles per hour, same in Cedar Rapids, as that little area came through that you were talking about where things got really, really poor. If you want to see something of a example what AJ's talking about, you can go to the KCRG First Alert Weather Facebook page. We posted a little video clip from our Vinton City Cam, where you can see it go from pretty bad to basically seeing nothing at all.
Yep.
And that's a lot what you described, and a lot of folks in that area saw the same thing.
And we had a similar experience in the mobile weather lab. Unfortunately, it was in between shows where the worst of it hit, so we weren't able to show it on the news for you guys, unfortunately. But there was a period of time when that snow, that band of snow came through. Like you said, visibilities in just a few minutes dropped to near nothing. And even in downtown Cedar Rapids, where there's buildings and trees to kind of break up the wind and kind of slow it down even a little bit, still very, very limited visibility. And that snow was blowing all over the roads, leading to real quick coverage of the snow on those roadways.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the good news, at least, that it was quick. And hopefully, as winds continue to diminish, which they will as we go through the evening, this is Pinpoint Futurecast now, watch these speeds still stay pretty strong and gusty through 8 o'clock, even through 9 o'clock in most spots. But we start to see some relief by 10 o'clock, still reaching that blizzard criteria in terms of gusts of 35 miles per hour or more in areas in the southeast half of the TV9 viewing area, and certainly still driving any sort of that snow that's around to blow in those types of winds. But by midnight, all that stuff expires. The winter weather advisory, the leftovers of the blizzard warning, and we're left behind with lighter winds overnight. In fact, by tomorrow morning, winds will not be much of an issue. There will be still a breeze, and that will be there all day long on Thursday, but overall better. And that's the good news there, but it will be cold. Tonight our lows get down into temperatures around, well, single digits, lows or wind chills a little bit below zero potentially.
Yeah, and the scary part about that, if you want to call it that, is that for a while that's going to be about the warmest we see. Thursday's going to be, I'm not going to call it a nice day, but it's going to be better than what we have coming Friday and Saturday. That dangerous cold settles in, and that's why we have our next first alert day right on the heels of this one after a brief break on Thursday that we're going to be talking about.
You remember the first half of the month when things were so quiet and warm?
Oh yeah, January started out nice and pleasant. I mean, it melted all the snow we had back in December. I was thinking today, it almost, when it's going to get cold like this, I like a nice blanket of snow. I know it makes things even colder than
Much
when
colder.
it's bare ground.
Yep.
But I don't know, for the aesthetic, if nothing else, I like having a thick blanket of snow when it's going to get cold like this. We're not going to have that.
Not thick.
Not
We've
thick.
got some.
We have some. Not a thick blanket, but a little bit of snow. So
AJ wants more.
I do.
All right, fair enough. But you said it. First alert days for Friday and Saturday. And it really is a pretty potentially dangerous situation because of how cold it will be. Now, obviously, there's a lot of things you can do to help keep yourself safe. And if you play it safe and smart, you're going to be totally fine. But you do have to respect it when it gets this kind of cold because things can go downhill in a hurry. Let's take a look at wind chills throughout this sort of time period. We're going to start a little bit earlier tomorrow morning. Said wind chills below zero, not by a lot. That's still plenty cold, 0 to 10 below in many cases.
Oh yeah, one of those mornings you're going to want to make sure that you are really bundling up, taking the cold seriously. Again, cold start to the day, going to stay pretty cold throughout the day too.
Yeah, it sure does look like it. Even by the afternoon, still seeing below zero wind chills north of Highway 20. And down south, the warmest we're going to make it to is 18 wind chill in Mount Pleasant. So that breeze that we got going through the day, still only about 10 to 20, maybe a little bit higher. But that's enough, and that's going to drive those wind chills down. But watch what happens as we go into Thursday night. Oof. That's a big drop in a big hurry. We went from just barely scratching below zero in the north to close to 30 below by 11 o'clock. and then below 0 in the south too, and everyone in between at least 10 or 20 below. And then it just continues to get worse. And so by Friday morning, 30 below in the south, that's the best we can offer in the viewing area. Up north, could get in that range of as much as 40 to 45 degrees below 0. Not unprecedented. We've seen wind chills this cold in eastern Iowa in the past. Maybe you get them like once a year, once every couple of years, but certainly something that we don't deal with a lot, fortunately. Maybe one incident in a year, like we said, one time.
Yeah, and again, a very fortunate thing, because it's nice we don't have this multiple days in a row, because it's just only having to prepare for it for 1 or 2 days. But still, it's going to be cold for a while, even if it's not 45 below.
Yep, and that's the kind of stuff that really will disrupt a lot of those activities. Schools, I mean, it's hard to say for sure. Districts have different rules in different places, but that's the kind of cold when it's been that cold where a lot of places just call it off, especially when you're talking about by 3 o'clock school out time on Friday. Still 15 to 30 below 0, so the daytime temperatures are not going to improve at all. Our air temperatures, thermometer readings, stay below 0 all day long and into Friday night as well.
Yeah.
That could be bad news for folks that, if you're in a house or a residence that has had troubles with freezing pipes in the past, that's the kind of prolonged cold that can cause some of those problems. So whatever you've done in the past to help that, I know in a place I lived in the past, we used to have to open the cabinet under the kitchen sink. That, even just to be sure, ran a heated space heater, not in that small space, but like within the kitchen, to just help keep things warm, because they did freeze. Didn't burst, but did freeze one time, and lesson learned, right?
Absolutely, yep. And that's pretty much like you said, you're going to have to be very cognizant of that, very aware of it. And also, if your house sometimes struggles to stay warm during the winter time, this is one of those situations where you're really probably not going to be a bad idea tomorrow to go out before the dangerous cold hits. Maybe purchase an extra space heater. Of course, make sure that you are being very safe with those. They can be a fire hazard.
Big time.
But the cold is also going to be hazardous. So if it makes the difference in your house being 50 degrees and 70 degrees, not a bad idea to have that space heater on standby. Really, for this, better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
But follow those safety directions that come with the space heater, because they really can be dangerous if you don't use them the right way, for sure.
Absolutely.
Don't plug them into any power strips. You got to plug space heaters directly in the wall. That is a bad deal if you try to do that sometimes. By Saturday morning, our first alert day continues. We're still talking about wind chills 15 to 25, maybe 30 below 0 then, so incremental improvement, but plenty cold and plenty dangerous potentially. Saturday afternoon and evening, things do start to get a little bit better, and that's why our first alert day does not continue into Sunday at this point. Our wind chills on Sunday morning at 7 o'clock, we're still just talking about 5 to 15 below 0 perhaps. Again, small improvements, but sometimes those small improvements do make a big difference. In terms of frostbite times, we go from 10 minutes or less when you're talking 45 below 0, or half an hour, 45 minutes. You get to something that's a little more manageable, and certainly the risk of worse outcomes for like hypothermia or worse in terms of exposure, if you don't take any steps to protect yourself, that becomes a lot less likely as we look ahead toward those temperatures on Sunday. Now, Monday, we're going to keep an eye on. It does come in a little bit colder, so that may become a first alert day someday in the future if things do trend that way. But for now, it does look like we're going to keep things perhaps just slightly above that more dangerous threshold.
Yeah, and at this point, the warmer we can keep it for the sake of safety out there, obviously the better it would be.
Yeah. Now, we were talking about pipes freezing. That matters what the air temperature is, what it says on your thermometer. But for humans, we don't care as much about the thermometer this time of year, especially when the wind blows, because wind chill and the summer, heat index is what we feel. That's what we perceive. And so in the winter, it's a little bit different than heat index, which of course we'll get to in about 6 months. But for now, this is the thing, and it's interesting how the body works.
It is. It's almost the, I guess you could call it the downside of being warm-blooded in a way, because the way that wind chill works, and the reason that we're talking so much about wind chill even more so than the air temperature, is because obviously we are warm-blooded, so in order for our bodies to function safely and properly, we need to stay very warm, around about 98 degrees. So the way that the wind chill works, as you're standing outside, your body is giving off heat. Now, that heat that your body gives off does create a very thin layer of warm air that kind of surrounds your body, and it acts as a little bit of a buffer against those really cold temperatures that are surrounding you. That's why we tell you to put on several loose-fitting layers when you're going to be out in the cold for especially in this type of situation, because those loose-fitting layers of clothing help trap air and therefore trap heat around your body, helps keep you warmer, keep you safer in those conditions. Now, when it's calm out, it's easier for your body to maintain that layer of warm air around you because the wind is not stripping that warm air layer away. The reason that we are so concerned with wind chill, especially again when the temperature drops like this, is because that wind comes in and it strips away that heat. So that leaves you more exposed to that cold air, and of course with that constant supply of wind stripping away that heat that your body's trying to produce to keep you warm, it makes it feel colder than the apparent temperature outside to you as a person as you're out there. And again, that can contribute to and speed up frostbite times and create a pretty dangerous situation. So again, that's why we talk about wind chill in these types of situations. It's a safety concern just as much as it is a perception concern. So some wind chill safety, again, key is to stay dry. Water wicks heat away from the body so much faster than air does. So if you are outside and you get wet, or if you get sweaty and get wet from that, again, that pulls heat away from your body even faster than cold air does. Cover any exposed skin. Wear layers of, again, non-skin tight clothing. Again, having that loose layer helps trap a little more air and a little more heat near you. And especially when it gets cold like this, 30, 40 degrees below zero, try to limit your time outside if you can. I know that, some folks, you might have to be outside for a period of time during your day. Make it as short as you can and try to have a space where you can go and get warmed up, even if it is just a car that you have the heat on and you can go jump into if you need it. But again, at this point, when it gets cold like this, best thing you can do is stay inside and stay somewhere warm inside as well.
Yeah, for sure. Just play it safe and play it smart. We know how to handle this in many ways, but like you said, it's just remembering those things, doing it, layers. I mean, layers are nice, right, in the winter because you can adjust them as you need. If you find yourself a little too warm once you get inside where you're going, then yeah, just leave a few of them off, and then you can put them back on before you head back outside, so it's pretty easy.
Absolutely, yep. And then other good thing to have too, throw an extra blanket in your car. If you are in a situation where you're stuck in your car, having that extra blanket, that extra layer can, again, be really, really critical for safety and comfort as well.
Yep, for sure. And you can, of course, count on us here at TV9 and your First Alert Storm team to keep you informed. As we get closer to these First Alert days, we're going to do more live streams like this, hopefully with a fewer technical flaws, but we will take a closer look throughout on TV9, as well as KCRG.com, the KCRG First Alert weather app, all the places that you typically find us, we will be there. For meteorologist Corey Thompson, or wait, no, I'm that guy.
I'm AJ Rickman, for meteorologist Corey Thompson.
Thank you. Yeah, we will take care and stay warm.